Do you feel like you're approaching a bit of a crisis point in your life? Maybe you're in a career you don't love and you know you've got to make a change. Or perhaps you've started a business and it's just not quite working and you know it's not right for you. Maybe personally, your relationship is crumbling and your health is starting to deteriorate. If so, this week's episode is for you. I truly believe that these crisis points are really beautiful opportunities for us to look inside as to what's working and what's not. What are we tolerating? What are our standards? What are we committing to? Because the truth is, we're very powerful. We get to create the circumstances in our life and the reality of our life by choosing how to respond, choosing our energy, choosing how to show up. And so if you're in a crisis point, I invite you to listen in closely because there are two things I really want you to know to help you get to the other side. And these are things that I've personally used to help me in my own situations where I feel like I'm on the wrong path and things aren't going according to plan. So step number one is to know that you're not broken, that you don't need fixing and healing. You don't need some big miracle because quite frankly, everything's happening for a reason and you're exactly where you're meant to be. What's happening around you is simply an opportunity for you to look inwards and change what's going on. It's really that simple, but our mind can overcomplicate it. So you're not damaged goods, you're not broken, you don't need fixing, you're perfect and whole just the way you are. This moment in your life is simply an invitation to look at how you're approaching life and how you can make some changes to make it easier, to make it more graceful, to make it more easeful, or whatever it is that you're desiring. Now, with that cleared up, you then start to move into, okay, if I'm not broken and I've got this situation, maybe my boss is being really frustrating and challenging, or maybe my partner and I just haven't been gelling for a while, what do you do? Well, I believe the first step is to actually tune inwards and listen to your own intuition, your chief soul officer, and hear what she has to say. See where she guides you and where she takes you. Because the thing is, we give our power away a bit too easily to others. So for example, if you have a health issue, you might be rushing to the doctor and they're going to prescribe you some pills to help you get rid of the symptoms that you've been describing. But they're not going to get to the real root cause of why it's happening in the first place. And the truth is, your intuition, your chief soul officer, knows the root cause. It knows why it's happening in the first place. So start to trust and cultivate that own internal doctor within you to diagnose and prescribe the best course of action for you. That is the most empowering thing that you can do in your own life. So naturally, you might be saying, okay, Siobhan, if I have to listen to my own chief soul officer, how do I do this? How do I start? Well, there are 5 main ways that our chief soul officer talks to us. I'm going to give you a brief summary of that today. So number 1, the way your chief soul officer, your intuition can talk to you is through clairvoyance. So clairvoyance is when you're able to see things. You can visualize an outcome, you can visualize a situation, you can see in your mind's eye what you're meant to do and what's going to happen. So that's clairvoyance. The second one, claircognizance. This is when you instinctively know and you don't know where the information's come from. You don't know how you know what you know, but you just know. Maybe you meet a person and instinctively everything looks good on the outside, but you know you can't trust them. That's claircognizance. You just something in your mind knows. And then months later, big reveal, you were right, right? That's claircognizance. The third one is clairaudience. So clairaudience is when you actually hear a voice. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a voice like I'm talking to you right now. It can be an inner voice that you can hear. So for example, if you quiet your mind and you ask yourself, okay, what am I to do about this career? And you'll hear a voice that says, you need to get out. That's your intuition talking to you. And where the struggle is your mind will say, but what about the practicality? What about this, this, and this, and this? And that's where it can get out of whack. But the first step is to listen to that voice and give it some time to express what it is that it has to say. Then, number 4 is clairsentience. This is the chills in your arms, the chills that go up your spine. This is when you feel things in your body. So that saying about having a gut feeling about someone, that's clairsentience. Maybe you meet someone and in your gut, you're like, don't trust them. You see, like that's your intuition, your chief soul officer talking to you. The fifth one and final one is dreaming. So some of you might go to bed and you might get these crazy visualizations, you might get these crazy images, and that's how your higher self talks to you, through dreaming. So those are the 5 main ways. Now, as I mentioned before, you might get information from your chief soul officer that you don't want to hear, that you don't want to even entertain. And it's understandable, right? Our rational mind is like, you're telling me to quit my job, but what about my family? What about my mortgage? What about XYZ, right? All the practical things. Yes, that's important, but what I invite you to do is give that chief soul officer a bit of time, a bit of breathing space, and explore, go deeper. Rather than have it talk to you and then smash it down because of life's realities, give it a voice, talk to it, dialogue it, ask what it needs to say. And you can do this through journaling. I think journaling is a beautiful way to talk to that right hemisphere brain of ours that knows intuitively what's right for us. So you can say, okay, why do I need to quit my job? Where are you coming from? What is it that I need to learn here? What is it that I need to be doing in this situation? And just give it some airtime, and then step back and hear what it has to say. It may guide you to seek help from a certain person. It may guide you to read a book. It may guide you to do more meditation. Whatever it might be, just start to listen and start to tune in, because that is, quite frankly, the best skill you can cultivate, because then you can become your own doctor. And if you need some help around this, then let me know. Just send me an email, and I want to share with you more about some of the cool new tools I've been learning to help you tap into that. So that's my message for you this week. Trust that you're not broken. You know exactly what you need to do. It's just time to start tuning in now inwards and listening. Wishing you all a beautiful week.